This is yet another episode of the Red Leaf Retrocast. I am joined here with my friend Josh and Kevin.
Hey, how's it going?
How are you guys doing today?
Doing fantastic, you know.
I'm in a daze.
You're in a daze. Well, we all seem to be busy with work and still have barely enough times to play any games. Today is a really fun retro topic and theme that I was kind of inspired
you picked it.
on my business trip that I took about a month ago.
I mean, half of it was fun. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
Oh man! And Josh, you had a lovely sentence or phrase that you wanted to begin with,
Yeah,
didn't you?
I mean, Red Leaf Retrocast isn't anything without our sponsors. So, greetings, humans of the internet, and welcome back to the worldwide popular Red Leaf Retrocast. Today we have the star-spangled cast of JD of Moose and Spiel on YouTube and at BowlingJD on Twitter, Kevin of Console Kev on YouTube and Twitter as well. And finally, my name is Josh of PowerChord on YouTube and at PowerChord Gaming. Today, the podcast is brought to you by Call of Duty, the world leader in 8-year-olds banging your mom and letting you know about it.
Oh my god.
Jeez.
Tell me I'm wrong, though.
Interesting note. Last podcast I did, I got quoted. One time I said, like, this game was like Call of Duty but something. And now anytime I walk into that game store, I ask about a game. They're like, oh yeah, Back to the Future 2 on Super Famicom. It's kind of like Call of Duty but a guy on a hoverboard. I'm like, this whole series is going to haunt me for life. So thank you, Josh.
Don't worry, man.
It's so good.
I got you.
It's so good.
I got you.
I'll describe everything today as it's like Call of Duty but with an alien, or it's like Call of Duty with a zombie.
Yeah, so this is yet another episode, and we're slowly getting up there in the numbers now.
Yeah.
Are you guys familiar with how many we've had now?
This is what, 6 or 7?
This is number 6.
I was gonna say 7.
Yeah.
Damn. I'm off.
Yeah, we're getting up there. I mean, 7 if you count the pilot, which Josh and I kind of practiced.
Yeah.
But today's theme is possibly terrible horror games.
And we gotta put the emphasis on possibly.
Possibly is the emphasis. So basically, it can't be a famous game, a horror game such as the Resident Evil or Silent Hill franchise. That was kind of the stipulation involved. It had to be a franchise or game that we had somewhat interest in playing, and hopefully it was good. It could easily be really, really terrible.
Yep.
And I was inspired to pick this theme based on a business trip I took to Edmonton, and just went into a retro store and I saw one of the games that we played for the podcast, and I'm just like, you know what? Inspiration has hit.
You know, I was gonna say you probably caught an Oilers game, but I mean that works too.
Well,
Wow.
the Oilers are actually still in the playoffs.
Yeah, for now.
Not unlike the Wings or the Leafs.
That's fine. I don't like the Wings or the Leafs. Although
I get you live in between both cities.
Although Alec was pissed, I'll tell you that. But that's God.
Yeah, all those games the Leafs were in this playoffs was pretty heartbreaking. Way to go 5 out of 6 in overtime and lose 4 of them. Oh, pretty bad. So not a hockey fan, Kevin?
I'll watch it if I'm there and it's like on live, or if somebody's watching on TV, but I don't go out of my way to watch it. No, I like watching the fights.
Well, speaking of fighting, there was a player that, holy crap, did he fight to just be on the ice, and that was Joe Thornton of the San Jose Sharks. Now this guy's no young spry skater, and apparently he tore his MCL and ACL and kept playing.
Like a true champion.
Man,
Like,
I had a hangdown once and I couldn't skate.
Yeah, this guy basically ruined his ability to walk, and he was still skating at an NHL level. I mean, you don't.
He's dedicated to the game, okay, man?
Man,
He's there. He's got plenty of ice surrounding him to make it better anyway.
Yeah, just take a knee, you'll be fine. Walk it off.
You just can't get back up.
Walk it off.
It was quite the performance. It was pretty wild. And Josh, you reminded me that Brad Marchand played with a punctured lung. So good God, hockey players, and just need to calm down.
Yeah, seriously.
We got Crosby taking off fingers this year,
for
and now we got Joe Thornton skating without a leg.
Yeah, it was a pretty crazy year in the NHL.
It was wild, and the playoffs have been good. But speaking of good, you guys been playing any good games or just games in general lately?
Well, I've been still on Final Fantasy 14. I'm actually on a quest that I'm going to be live streaming on my channel. I'm going for Johnny because he lives in Quebec, so he can't really help us out with Power Chord anymore. But I'm going to live stream Final Fantasy 1 through 15. I'm going to beat all the Final Fantasy series.
That is a large task.
Yeah. And it was actually really inspired from when we did the Iconic RPG series, because when we played 1 and 3, I was like, I haven't actually in-depth gone through these games, so I'm going to do it. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, all the way to 15, skipping.
Are you going to do the side ones?
Yeah, I'm going to do 10, 2, and unfortunately 13, the 2 13 offerings, but I'm not going to do 11 and 14 because they're the online games, so.
Are you going to do tactics?
Yeah, I'm going to do tactics afterwards, or maybe even after 7.
I will see you when you're 40. You are never going to be done with this.
Yeah, maybe when I'm done 7.
I guess you don't plan on buying any new games anytime soon.
Nope. Actually, the latest pickups I've gotten were actually Final Fantasy. I think I said this last time. I got Final Fantasy 8 and 9 for $40 from a pawn shop, which is a pretty good deal.
That's actually pretty. Oh yeah, that's right. I remember you showed a picture on Twitter. I was like, those prices are Canadian prices, right? I was like,
pretty much got to add $10 to everything.
Yeah.
I just felt like an idiot. I was like, oh yeah, I'm an ignorant American, right?
What about you, Kevin?
All my free time pretty much got zapped recently because I've been working these 7 days a week, 12-hour shifts. So most of my game time is getting to work early on the sole purpose that I can sit in my car and play games for like 30 minutes, which I know sounds desperate.
Hey, that's what the Switch is for.
But I've been playing Horizon Zero Dawn when I can.
Oh, is that not Game of the Year material?
I used to be the biggest Zelda fanboy. But the second I saw that game, especially because I love Gorilla, because I love Killzone so much.
Yes, sir.
I saw that game, and I was like, why is everyone talking about Breath of the Wild? They don't have mecha dinosaurs. Like, do you guys not see mecha dinosaurs? So I've been playing that, and I've been missing it dearly. I got to play like an hour of it yesterday. I was like internally crying at the thought. I decided that since I'm going to be doing this whole half hour before work, I'm going to bring my 3DS or Vita along. And I picked a random game, which was Advance Wars Dual Strike. And, I'm just bad at strategy games. I'm really, really bad. And I've gotten to the point in my life where, like, if I'm not having a full amount of fun with something, I think I just need to put it down. Which will come into relevance later, by the way. I talked about the games I was playing. And, I used to love Advance Wars, but, like, I'm not good at strategy games.
Well, to be fair, I don't think...
So,
To be fair, I don't think anybody's really good at strategy games at 6:30 in the morning.
I can also see that, but it's like, this is my only time to play during the week. I'm like, I gotta put this down. I'm gonna pick something else up, like shut your brain off, like kind of fun, just to get my morning started. Yeah. So I'll probably pick up Advance Wars again. I've actually been playing a mobile game called Nova, or as I like to call it, definitely not Halo, we promise.
Oh god, totally not a ripoff. I take it.
It's literally like N.O.V. And your guy is like talks like Master Chief. The guns look exactly the same. It's
he's
for a free game. It's pretty impressive.
Chief. That's anyways. Jack of all trades, Chief.
It really is. I'm sure you both have smartphones. You're like, just download like the free version. It has like maybe an ad when you die, but like just to see like how badly they ripped it off, you're like, this can't be legal.
I'll check it out afterwards.
In my world, lots of travel for work, back and forth. I've literally gone to Vancouver and to Houston, New York. I've covered all over North America. So the handhelds have definitely been my friend, much like what Kevin plans to do. The 3DS and Vita haven't been too far from my possession. And then I finally did beat Breath of the Wild on one of my business trips.
Nice.
Yeah. You did?
I did. I beat it. I didn't muck around too much.
Anyone actually beating it? So you didn't 100% it then?
Come on, man. I'm not going to find 900 seeds in the world.
What are you, some kind of casual?
Okay, so this is these are some of the negatives that people keep putting on Breath of the Wild. Is once you get past like all the main stuff, it's just finding these seeds and finishing shrines. But the way I'm looking at it is the game's made where you can go in any direction immediately. And there's a lot of these put in there, so no matter which way you go, you'll essentially be playing the heart of the game, and it's not forcing you to find all these minute things. And that's what I really appreciated about it. I if I had the interest to keep going, I could, level my guy up or whatnot, but really the game is about 40-50 hours.
That's definitely less time than I've put into it.
And then how is that not enough time?
Oh, that's plenty of time. I look at that game, and now that the honeymoon period's over, you start to get like people's real reactions. Like everyone was like, "Oh, 10, 10, 10," and like now I'm like 10 means nothing's wrong with that game. And like finally, like hearing people talk about it, it's like, okay, the weapon durability kind of sucks. Like, okay, this thing isn't great. So like now I'm trying to finally get like my feel of the game, and I think I'm almost ready to buy it once I get some free time.
I think, and I've always said this from the beginning, the game is a solid 8 because it's everything the gamer ever wanted, and the durability I think is kind of cool because it's give you a way to recycle and try all the different weapons.
See, I really like that as well. Of course, some weapons are going to be less or more durable than others, which gets you to try out all the other things and different strategies, different tactics. The game's been talked to death at this point.
Plus, it's interesting to throw your weapon at stuff.
Oh, I love doing that. And probably the most interesting thing I did in the game was name all the horses after the Shadow of the Colossus horse aggro.
Yeah.
And just
every single horse is aggro.
And just every single horse is aggro followed by a number in sequence, and then when a horse died, I just kept going up in numbers. So I think at the end of the game, I was at like aggro 39.
How do you?
Nobody will ever replace you, aggro. Ooh, aggro 2. What's up?
How do you ever? What? I've never had my horse die yet. How did you kill your horse?
So one of my most fun things to do in the game was just straight up run off a cliff and then jump off the horse with the parachute or the glider.
Dude, that.
Do you have any pets, Shady?
I do not.
Good. I hope you never do.
I had a plant, but it kind of burnt on the balcony one day.
Plants don't burn. How do you even do that?
Dude, it was
all right.
crazy.
So it's a pretty funny story. But when I first moved into my apartment here in Toronto, a building was being built across the street, and I just got the plant. In 3 days, this one section of the building was built, and the way the sun hits one part of the building goes on the one specific part of my balcony where the plant was, and it just immediately burned the plant.
Are you growing weed?
No, it was
I've never seen a plant burn before.
Yeah, it didn't physically like catch on fire. That's where your imagination's going.
I know that, but that would be metal as hell.
This is my plant that I love with all my. Well, this was my plant that I love with all my heart and soul.
Everything I touched dies.
Well, it was great. I go away for a weekend, and I come back and the plant's done. I was like, this plant shouldn't have like dehydrated in 2 days. So
you should buy a cactus next time.
I've been really into Parasite Eve: The Third Birthday, which I got from the network to put on my Vita.
Okay.
So I'm a big fan of the Parasite Eve series. Yeah. And then
nobody picked those. Did we?
Oh,
go on.
I forgot I picked up Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, I said nobody picked those. Sorry, I was like mumbling to myself. I was like, damn, I should have picked that.
But Parasite Eve is pretty famous, and everyone knows the first one's good. But yeah, no one picked the second one.
I mean, I'm ignorant to the series, so maybe.
I've never even
Really
heard
now?
of it.
Well, okay, then maybe that's something we can talk about later in the general topic, where we just kind of discuss horror games in general and how they've come and what's different.
Fair enough.
Well, how about we just dive into our first game, shall we?
All right, take it easy though. I'm a little sore from last time.
Ooh. I like where this is going.
Oh boy. So our first game was my first pick, which is the game called D, such as the letter D.
It was.
And it was developed by Warp, and published by Acclaim. So, what do you think of that, guys? An Acclaim game?
You wanted to give us the D.
It was also published by Panasonic, and I see what you did there. I didn't miss that.
Hey. I said that every time somebody wanted it at the game store I worked at. I was like, this joke is never going to get old.
It came out on 3 platforms, the PlayStation, Sega Saturn, and the 3DO.
I guess the 3DO version I heard was a lot better. It played a lot better.
So the 3DO is an interesting console. It was more or less ahead of its time, but it was very expensive, and there just wasn't a big library, because I could go on and on about this, but to me, the games make the platform.
Yeah.
And there just wasn't enough games for the 3DO. But D was kind of a standout, actually, and I've never heard of this game. I just saw, when I was looking for games to choose for the podcast, I just saw this is a horror game that came out in 1995, which is really early, considering it's a platform one.
Yeah.
And it's heavily created in full motion video. So the whole game takes place in this video-esque presentation, and you're this character named Laura, and she essentially plays on a rail throughout this like haunted mansion, or just a mansion in general. No, she's in a hospital. I'm sorry. She plays in she goes to a hospital, and basically it's focusing on her father, who's a doctor, and he's gone crazy and just killed everybody in the hospital. And she goes, well, that can't be true. I gotta go investigate this myself, and just kind of walks in the hospital and gets sucked into another dimension. And you go into like this haunted-esque house, and you play on a rail solving various puzzles, and slowly, with each new kind of area or new thing that you do in the game, you get a little solid full motion video that advances the plot. You learn more about Laura and her frame of mind. Her dad talks to her and constantly yelling at her, going, Laura. Josh, did you hear me? Laura.
What?
Exactly. So.
Oh my God, Dad, stop! He's just my boyfriend.
God, he's gay.
Dad, it's just my boyfriend. He wants to ask for my hand in marriage. Shut up.
Oh, I don't like him.
And this game took place shortly after the ESRB came out. And I'm actually surprised this game got released, because the more I was playing this and thinking about it, because there's scenes of like Laura stabbing her mom, and blood's coming out, and
well, I mean,
of course it's this goopy Nickelodeon gack-looking red goop, but
well, I mean, it's
still
like Metal
blood.
Gear, so I mean, I can't see this being too bad, right?
I don't know. It has this big psychological aspect to it.
Oh, it's definitely a psycho-horror game.
Josh, what did you think of the game?
So I know what the topic is, the possibly crappy horror games, but this one, and there was another one that we played, and it was actually the two you picked that honestly don't fit the topic I had found out, because when I was playing this, I was actually creeped out the whole time. Like,
it generally was pretty creepy, you're right.
It was like how slow everything moved, and what made it even more creepy is, like, when you watch a horror movie, you always say, don't go in there, or don't do that, or run, you stupid bitch, like shit like that, right? It made it even worse because it made you advance more and more every time. Like, the atmosphere was on, I'm going to say it, the atmosphere was on point. This game was actually scary.
Yeah, it was. I was very surprised, because generally when you hear about a game with full motion video, and this is why I thought it would possibly be terrible, is full motion video games generally aren't very good.
Okay.
If they were good, the things like the Sega CD and the 3DO would have been more successful.
Yeah, so I mean, just horror games that because we have one that I had picked. Well, both the ones that I had picked. Horror games at this time really had to try to be really scary. So it's just when they came at you with the point, because they played it more like a movie, right?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, and I think that was the point of it. When I was later looking at the game and its kind of history, there was one review I found from a German writer that said this is probably the best 3DO game and the best FMV game we'll ever have.
I can agree with that. Yeah,
that's like shocking, because any FMV game was like, you didn't really have much competition now, did you?
Well, I mean, there was what was the console where those FMV Zelda games were on?
CDI, but
CDI.
Let's pretend that doesn't exist.
Well, that whole console was FMV games, and the whole thing was terrible. So the fact that, as Josh stated, the environment was on point. The way the game made you just feel uncomfortable. Yes, I mean, compared to games nowadays, Laura moves incredibly slow, maybe too slow.
It reminded me of playing Myst.
That kind of helped with the whole atmosphere.
It reminded me of playing Myst with tank controls.
Yeah, it didn't have to do any of that. Now, Kevin, we haven't gotten your thoughts on this.
Well, my thoughts kind of there's going to be a common theme with everything that I say tonight, and the thing with like D is like the same issue I have with like Resident Evil, where like I know it's a horror game, but like it's more in the gameplay aspect of like why does everything have to be like a crazy puzzle? And like to me, I maybe I'm just not. Like,
why do I need a statue to go to this to get that just to get the key to go out the front door?
Right, like no one's house is laid out like this. Like I can't imagine, but like going into like what's the thing Spencer mentioned in Resident Evil, like, oh, I gotta go up to the attic. Where did I put that red tiger's eye?
Hey, that place is haunted. It's like, different.
Now to be fair, I feel like this game actually the puzzles actually kind of had a purpose in it.
Yeah.
Unlike, say, Resident Evil. Because when I was playing it, and when things are revealed, just a little spoiler here, so, for the next 10 seconds, kind of, get out. But, you know what? I don't think it's a spoiler, because it's more of an interpretation of what happened. And my interpretation is, you were in Laura's head the whole time. And she was kind of going through, unlocking puzzles to her own mind.
I could see it.
Is that a fair interpretation?
Yeah,
I could see that.
I mean,
it would make sense for all these puzzles.
And the puzzles I didn't find were all that difficult. It was grab a book, put it in the shelf. That was it. So that it wasn't like grab the statue, line it up with a shadow. It unlocks a key to get you to a safe that then you have to have the code that it wasn't as convoluted or crazy as that. You guys know what I'm talking about. That's what hard games kind of do.
But that's the issue I have with most horror games. Is like I feel like horror ends up taking a backseat to unnecessarily overly confusing gameplay, which is somehow building tension.
Yeah, and I didn't think that this game did any of that. It was actually done. It was everything was presented well. Now the only bad part of the game, I can honestly say, besides the slow walking, I think it was too slow, as I've reiterated now already.
That's what made everything more suspenseful, though.
It was but it was still too slow. Yeah. I think maybe a step or two faster would have still had the same impact.
Absolutely.
But I don't know if you guys got this far, but there's a room in which you have to spin it around in order to. Did you guys get that far?
Did not.
So eventually you get to a room and you're locked in, and you spin this wheel, and you have to spin it X number of times to unlock a new area, and then you go there. There's a puzzle area. You go back to that same room, spin it some more, and you must be like half the game. I think is actually in that room.
See, I don't mind.
That part annoyed me. I don't know why it couldn't have just been hallways, just in a V or an X or something.
Too convenient for a survival horror game, that's why.
See, puzzles in
this game actually... Go on, Josh.
Puzzles in a horror game are fine, but if you're going to have puzzles in a horror game, you need to have something pressuring you while you're trying to do the puzzle.
Well, this game didn't have any of that pressure. It was that...
Yeah, other than try to beat the game in the time. Because you only had 2 hours to beat it.
I was going to get into that.
Yeah.
You have 2 hours to beat the game. Otherwise, you die. Mm-hmm. The character dies. Laura dies. And that's actually considered an ending to the game.
But is that real time, or is it 2 hours in-game time?
2 hours in-game.
Well, you can't pause it.
Okay.
And you can't pause the game, so it doesn't matter.
I didn't even notice that I couldn't. I never paused it.
You can't pause it. You can't save it. It's literally put 2 hours aside, turn the lights off, light some fucking skull candles.
I am an adult. I don't have 2 hours of one block of time.
Hey, you don't have to sleep.
And there's actually there's 2 other endings to the game as well. And it focuses on the little backstory is Laura's bloodline comes from Dracula. But they don't really reference Dracula in really the entire game. Mm-hmm. And not to spoil the ending or anything, so I won't go into that. But it actually ends pretty cool. Either one of the endings is fine. I actually played them both because I was actually interested in the game. And being that, you can beat the game in like 45 minutes, it's not a big time commitment once you know what you're doing. Mm-hmm.
Is one ending the canon as opposed to the other? I would assume so, because I know there's D2.
There's a good ending, and then there's a bad ending. And as in the bad ending in terms of the character. Something bad happening to the character. And then there's a good one happening. But truly, they're both to me, they're both bad endings. They're just different.
Gotcha, okay.
Yeah.
So, but... Alright, well, at least it leaves it open-ended, I guess.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, and they did make a sequel to it, so I'm actually interested in the sequel now. And it's games like this that actually continue to get my interest in a 3DO, surprisingly enough.
Mm-hmm.
As a retro game collector.
This is like one of the few games that's worth it. Don't get too excited.
Well, I mean, my rule is once I get to 10 games on a console, then I'll want it, because then that's enough reason to get one.
That's actually a really good rule to have.
Yeah.
I think we're going to apply that to the Switch.
Good thing there's
well,
only
the Switch
5
has
games
3 of them. And actually, Mario Kart Deluxe comes out soon.
That was coming out in a few months.
It's Mario Kart 8 again. That's all.
But there's Splatoon characters in it. Anyways, we're getting off track. So yeah, I actually quite enjoyed D. I'll be interested in the sequels for sure. What about you guys?
D was awesome.
I want to play. Oh, go Josh first. I always do that.
D was awesome.
I'm just gonna wait until I'm summoned.
So yeah, D was really awesome. Like I said, the atmosphere was really good. The game actually had me creeped out the whole time that I did play it. It just kept me on the edge of my seat, and there was no downtime. Like, it kept you moving, which made it even scarier. Because, like I said, the whole "don't go in there, you idiot," and it's like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna walk into this hospital," and you're like, "Oh man!" Like, that's what made it different from Resident Evil. Resident Evil, you kind of like, "I know I gotta go in this room, but I don't want to go in there yet." So, and then that just makes you go. It's like, yeah, you do it or you die. So, yeah, Kevin, you have been summoned.
Oh, thank you. I like this game, but I feel like it falls victim to graphics over gameplay kind of thing, because it was all FMV and it was like, look, 3D models. Like, I don't know, I had a rough time just getting into it because I feel like the gameplay took a backseat. But I do want to play D2 because of all the smack talking the developer did to the Saturn. Do you know about any of that or no? Do you guys know about that?
Go on. I'm fairly familiar with it, but go. I'd like to hear your take.
So, I can't remember the developer's name, but I think it was at like an E3 where he was like, "Ooh, I'm making D2. Look at this, everybody!" And everyone's like, "Whoa, that's crazy!" And then he like put up the Saturn logo, but then it slowly morphed into a PlayStation logo, just like, "Yo, fuck you guys!" Like,
that's kind of, that's kind of it's kind of the opposite with the Tomb Raider developer, because he just wanted to make it for the Saturn and then later had to make it for the PlayStation. He was kind of irked about it.
Yeah, but he didn't do it like a middle finger, like Stone Cold, like screw you guys.
So
but that's my only reason to want to play D2, because I just want to see how edgy it got.
Oh god. So our next game is Josh's pick. Go on, Josh.
Hell yeah, the next game, the best game, was Nightmare on Elm Street for the NES. Now, there's not really much we can say about this, because the game was very one-dimensional, and I'm not talking about it because it's a side-scroller. The music was goofy, wasn't even kind of scary, and the whole time I was thinking to myself, what am I trying to accomplish here? Because even if I died, I was doing the right thing. So, like, how could you have been scared at this game? That's, like, they released Nightmare on Elm Street, they released it for the name. That's all it is. It was just simply a marketing ploy. Like, how could anybody have been scared? Felt like how could anybody have been scared of this game?
Are you trying to tell me that a movie game was put out for a marketing ploy?
Yeah. I don't know why anybody would think of dream of that, but I mean,
sounds erroneous.
Now, Josh, who developed this game?
Oh shit, I can't remember. I forgot to write it down. All I know is it wasn't that. Wait, wasn't it Acclaim?
Atlas.
It was Rare.
Oh my god.
Damn
so
it.
This is before their
oh no, Atlas did Friday the 13th.
This is before their rise to power.
Oh.
Yeah, man, this
such a shame.
This game was horrible. Like, if there was honestly, there's nothing to say. Like, this is your classic NES game. You walk side to side. If anything's on the ground, you're screwed. Like, this game isn't scary at all. How could I just please someone tell me, you guys or anybody who's listening, tell me how this game was scary. If you played this game back then, please let me know and I will prove you wrong.
You see, the game wasn't scary. It was so standard. I think even like Contra scared me more than this game would have at the time.
Man, I've been more scared by Final Fantasy, right? Like I've run into a wild horse in Final Fantasy 1 and I think, oh well, I'm dead.
I think you need to get your like, what? How are you scared of a horse?
No, dude, they're wild horses. They will kill you in one shot, and they're right at the beginning of the game.
Oh boy!
Like JD's horses that he keeps running off cliffs and stuff. Maybe they're the ghost of JD's horses.
Damn it, JD.
The ghost of aggro.
The time traveling ghost of aggro.
Aggro the 15th. What are you doing here?
To be fair, with the whole confusing Zelda timeline, that game could have came out before Final Fantasy.
Oh.
I talked to Alec
okay, so
all the time, but that's something else.
The game is side to side. You go through random houses, and some doors are open, some doors aren't. You can go in some, you can't. You can't.
You go in the houses?
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do.
What? I thought you just went side to side and punched as many things as you could until you died.
It sure felt like that, because it's not really clear that you can go in these houses,
No.
because even if the door's open or not, you don't know if you can actually go into them.
All I know is one time I went to like the dream realm or your nightmare, and then shit got stupid, and I just kept dying, and then that was it.
I don't know if he's being serious or not, though. That's
no, I'm being serious.
No. This is actually
houses.
You
didn't go in a house?
Yes, when you go in a house, you're supposed to collect the bones of Freddy Krueger.
No, I know that. I don't know if Josh actually knew that.
No, I'm being serious. I didn't actually know that you had to do that. I thought you just, like I said, you walk side to side, punch things until you die. That's all I thought the game was. Try to get a...
See, I was wondering why your thoughts on this game were so weird. I'm like, I actually think this game's pretty cool.
I didn't think the game the game was goofy.
It needed so much more than that. I mean, all the enemies were just your standard
bat
Halloween caricatures. You have a zombie, you have a skeleton, you have a bat. Oh my god, I think there were spiders in there probably.
And everybody's favorite Halloween symbol, snakes.
Right. And you just punch snakes in the face. But yeah, Josh is right. You just go around punching things until you die, because
you go side to side.
You don't know how many bones you need to get, or I must have missed any sort of meter on there. The only meter
There's a counter at the top.
Well, that's how many bones you have, but not how many you need to collect.
No. Every time you collected a bone, it went down.
I thought it went up.
No.
Everyone's version of how they play this game is different, and this is the Red Leaf Retrocast. Everybody.
I mean, to be fair,
I only got to see one boss, and it was like Freddy Krueger's glove.
I played this for.
That's
on
all
a chain.
That's pretty
it was
much
like a change.
Boss.
It was. Oh god. It was every boss is like that.
Essentially, or it's Freddy blindly walking to the side of the screen, swiping at the air, and if you happen to be in his way, he hurts you. Like, he doesn't really try.
Oh god, that's awful.
10 minutes.
Yeah, I only got like 40 minutes in myself.
You're
but
a brave man.
What was irritating was that sleep meter just goes down pretty quick, and then you go into Dream World.
I thought I just came because I died so many times. It's like,
no, you're in Dream World trying to get a like a 90s boombox.
The thing is, you're both right, because you fall asleep over time, and it is a health meter as well. So like you're both right.
All right, Kevin.
This game.
Convince us why this game isn't as bad as we're making it out to be.
I'm not saying it's a great game. I'm just saying it's pretty cool. Now, like it's just, I don't know, something about it was just simple. Of like, go in the building, collect the bones, and like fight Freddy real quick. Like, it didn't need to be. I mean, it did need to be good because you want to buy it, but like. I mean, it's okay. It's above average for me. I don't know. It was just fun. It's definitely not scary. I wouldn't call it a horror game other than the name. You guys are definitely right on that. But did you guys play with 4 players?
No. Man, you think I have 4 friends?
You can play 4 players?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Damn it, Josh. I was like, I don't have 4 friends. Nobody did. But yeah, no. Actually, the co-op in this game, I did play it with one friend back in the day, and by back in the day, I mean when I was like 19. But like it's fun to play with other people. Like the Dream World power-up stages are like the key to the game. Like, you become like an athlete or like a monster, and like use different weapons, like traverse the world. I don't know. I thought it was a way to make Nightmare on Elm Street a game. Because honestly, I mean, I don't know what else you would have done other than like run from Freddy for like 90 minutes.
Yeah, why not? It would have been better than trying to not die to things that come at you on the ground. I'm telling you, that was the worst part of the game.
You're trying to make logic out of an
Man,
NES
you
game.
just hit the same for D.
I think it's a good. I think it's I think it's above average. I'm not saying it's great.
Yeah, I know.
It's just like, all right, maybe it's the fact that it's an acid trip, like in a cartridge.
Yeah, I suppose.
Maybe that's why I thought it was fun.
I just also thought it was funny when you would turn the game on. It's just Freddy Krueger standing there. It's like, oh,
TM.
It's like, all right, let's do this. This Freddy Krueger. You fucking pop in and you hear this goofy ass music.
Freddy Krueger is coming. TM. That was my favorite part when Freddy was coming.
Oh yeah, they cut the trademark symbol on it.
Yo. I had to let you know that, hey, this is a registered trademark. You guys can't just be like, Freddy's coming.
Well, I think the people listening know Josh and I's take, and now we know your take, Kevin. So you think it was okay? Josh and I clearly didn't care much for the game at all.
I'll say it doesn't justify its price of what it goes for right now. I'll give it that.
How much does it go for in the States?
Like $25 for no reason.
That's add another $15 and you have the Canadian price.
Yeah, I'm not paying $40 for Nightmare on Elm Street in Canada.
Screw that, I wouldn't even pay $5.
I'll say it probably attributes because it's an AVGN game, so people are probably going to get them all. But this is like it's one of the better ones.
I guess. I guess it kind of takes. I didn't know you can go into the houses, so that kind of takes that point away. But
that would have helped.
But the
game doesn't change much. The game doesn't change much, man. Well, speaking of a game that doesn't change much, Kevin, it's your next pick or your first pick on the list.
So I played Alien Resurrection for the PS1.
Okay, before we get into the game, how stupid was the movie?
pretty goddamn. But here's my mistake I made with the game. I thought it was Alien Trilogy. I got these two games mixed up, so I was like super excited to play it. I was like, oh yeah, I finally get to play it. Alien Trilogy is apparently really good. This game sucks. Don't play So the deal with Alien Resurrection is the reason I wanted to play it is because I knew it was a horror game that goes against what I said when we were talking about D. It wasn't about like, ooh, do the puzzles, like, and it could still be like that was the whole scare of the game. No, Alien Resurrection is scary because it's fucking impossible. Like this, I had a buddy come over and he looked at my save file and I told him like I've been playing this from Friday afternoon to Saturday midday when he came over. And he's like, oh, your save file says you have 6 hours. I'm like, no, that's 6 minutes because I kept dying and dying and dying. I made a video about it for my own channel for shameless plug reasons, but this game is stupid impossible. And I'll give it this thing: it does a horror game good where you have a pistol, it has unlimited ammo, but it sucks. Okay, no problem. Good luck aiming on a PlayStation 1 DualShock controller because they haven't figured it out at this period in time. You can't aim down the sights. Hitting a soldier in the head to stealthily kill him, fucking impossible. Can't do that. So you just have to like take 5 minutes aiming your crosshair on his head, shooting him, and then you go around the corner after trying to kill him. Oh shit, there's 40 guys. Then you die. And then you start the game again. And you get a little further, and then you die. And then I did that for about a day. And then I got to a save point in the level, which is about halfway through. Okay, that's fair. And then I get through the save point, and then I died.
Huh.
And then this game is it's so dark. And I get that maybe it's a PlayStation 1 game. Fine, I get it. But it's so dark, and I can't see anything. And then, like, okay, I gotta find a key to get through here. It's kind of like Doom in that sense. So I'm like, oh, maybe I'll go down this ladder and there's a key down here. Apparently Ripley doesn't want to grip ladder sometimes, so I fell down a thing and I had no health, so I died. So then I go all the way back to my save point. I'm like, okay, I'll try it again. And then I go back to this ladder, making sure I grip it. Got really far. And then I'm like, getting through this level. I open a couple doors. I'm like, okay. I've gotten pretty far in this, like, there's got to be a save point around here somewhere. Got to be going. And now I'm on, like, my last sliver of health because a soldier has killed me. I have not seen an alien to this point yet, mind you.
Yeah,
and I get to the last point before a level. And then I died. And then I had to start all the like, back. And I was like, I'm fucking losing it with this game. I got about to that process essentially repeated till about halfway through the second level when I said, fuck this game, it sucks.
You know what's sad? I didn't have that hard of a time with it. Because you can, because you can choose different characters, and I think I put in a cheat code. Yeah, you can choose 4 different characters in the game, and one of them has a laser rifle, and another has a grenade launcher.
No, I picked up the laser rifle later. Like, you started the game. Are you sure you didn't play Trilogy?
I definitely played Alien Resurrection, the 2000 game.
So you started out and like there was stuff going on. Like, I don't think
don't get me wrong. I died a lot at first, but it doesn't sound like I had as much trouble as you.
No, but the first weapon you pick up is a laser pistol. How'd you pick up a laser rifle?
Oh, maybe it was a laser pistol then. Either way, it made it much easier to target.
This game sucks. I literally finished that game. When I say finished, meaning I was fucking done with it. I had 12 minutes on my save file.
I think you're just bad at fighting off all the aliens that you didn't see.
I mean, I eventually got to see. I think I saw 3 xenomorphs this whole time I played this game, and I died. I made a video about it. I want to make sure that everyone saw this game sucks, and it's actually in my trade pile right now.
Oh God. Oh, that's great.
It's going away. I bought it at an expo thinking it was going to be great, and well, you know, I'm dumb.
Well, as far as I'm aware, the company that developed the game, Argonaut Games, I think this was like the only one that they did, or it was the last one.
Well, I can see it being the last one.
I hope it's the last one. I don't care that you guys made Star Fox. You go back you go to hell and you die. Yeah, it has a rich history, but like I think as soon as they started breaking off on their own, doing their own thing, they didn't do anything right. It was published by Fox Interactive, so it's got this big Fox logo on it in the game, and it was distributed by Electronic Arts. So the companies were all over the place.
I hate EA.
I thought the graphics were all over the place. I'm usually a guy who doesn't really care about graphics. It either looks good or okay, and then I'm done. I don't really mind. But there was times where I was playing the game and it looked like what I would play on a PS2 at times, and then it would chug so hard that all of a sudden the resolution would just go down to something that you would see on maybe the Genesis. It was just all over the place.
Really?
Yeah, like there was certain areas that it would just look so crisp and nice, but as soon as you turn the next corner, it goes down to like a Genesis level of graphics, just immediately.
See, it's funny. It's funny you say that, because maybe this is one of those like few games. Like, I've had a few PlayStation 1 games I play on my PS3 and it doesn't emulate well. And I played, when I was doing this on a PS3, my HUD went from green to like being white for some reason. And I thought that was like, maybe, I don't know, this level likes that, but like maybe it's like one of those few games where like if you play it on PlayStation 1, like it just runs better. So I don't know. It's interesting. That
I was playing on just the original PlayStation with S video cable. Oh, that's what I was playing on. So
super video, bro.
The harsh difficulty level is just too much. Even for like, I would say this year is the first time I've actually tried to challenge myself with a lot of games, purposely putting games in like the hardest difficulty level if the game warrants it. And what I mean by that is, if a game's going to be difficult, it can't just be, oh, there's less ammo, or you need to pump more bullets into an enemy. No, it has to, it's whether the AI gets smarter, or, maybe levels change, like in Thief. Right. Things like that. This game was just balls hard from the start. And there was no getting around it. It was just a matter of getting lucky and almost wanting you to cheat the system. Like a game like this is why there's save states.
Well, it definitely was, and the reason I wanted to keep going with this game is because although I kept dying, I felt like every time I loaded back up, I did a little better, and I did a little better, and I was like, okay, I know where to go. And
it was taunting you.
I knew which valve to go, and I literally put this in my trade pile like 3 times, and I would have said, no, I'm gonna fucking do this, and eventually just got to the point where like, you know what, I don't care. I can't beat this game. It sucks. Fuck this game. I'm out. Like,
as a survival horror, I wasn't impressed. As a first-person shooter, a callback to our last episode.
Still wasn't impressed.
Yeah.
I mean, supposedly this is the game that invented the use of left and right analog sticks for first-person shooters.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
I wanted to bring that up. No, it pretty much was, because the guy that wrote the review for GameSpot got shit on for saying that this was like the worst control scheme, and this will never be the way modern shooters control. Don't you look stupid.
Well, that's only because this game was so hard. You couldn't line anything up half the time.
I mean, to be fair, this game's just bad too.
Josh, you've been quiet. What do you got?
Well, I didn't play too much of this game. I had the same problem as Kevin, actually. The game was more or less, for me, suspenseful because I didn't know when the aliens were going to come at all, so I kind of just thought like there'd be a few waves of soldiers and suddenly a xenomorph would pop out. But I never really played too much of this game. I lost interest in it way too quickly. I couldn't do it. It was too hard.
Did you also get 10 minutes of gameplay time on your save file?
Yeah, it wasn't all that great. The game, it's like you guys have already said. It was tough. It wasn't all that great. It was really fucking dark. It's not to say that this was a horrible game, but as a horror game, it definitely wasn't all that great.
I gotta add one more thing, speaking of the dark. If you're gonna have a flashlight in a game, either make it fucking work or make it don't.
Yeah.
I don't need to take 20 steps and my flashlight dies, so I just sit there picking my nose. Oh, look, it's at 100% again. I'll just keep walking. Oh, it died again. Like, that was unnecessary padding. It added no tension, and I was just fucking annoyed.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Well, it's funny you bring up the darkness. When I started seeing facehuggers, it was too dark to even see they were on the ground. It was fucking impossible. That's what got me to just quit altogether.
You're lucky you even got far enough to see a facehugger.
Yeah. Well, if there was ever, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, anytime more than one xenomorph got on the screen, that's when the graphics would just chug hard, and I would die. So I found myself just running away half the time.
Also, the xenomorphs looks like turds. I'm gonna throw that out there.
Yeah, they don't look too good. They look pretty. They look as sloppy as Alien 3.
Wow, shots fired. So we can all agree this sucks.
Yeah.
It was too hard. It was too hard to even enjoy anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a point where I don't like Dark Souls personally for reasons, but I don't hate it because of the difficulty. Like, the game, while unfair, has a learning curve, and you get better and better and better at it. This is just, it's cheap, and it wasn't fun.
Yeah, I'm not one.
It was full of cheap.
Just because the game's hard doesn't make it not good, but this took it to a level of it's literally fuck you difficulty.
Yeah, like you just said, I'm not one to knock a game for its difficulty, but this was just unnecessary.
Yeah, and it wasn't that scary.
Yeah, no.
Moving right along. We're on a good pace here. This is my second and last pick for possibly terrible horror games, and this is actually the game that inspired the topic.
This one is it's actually my favorite one that we played.
Alone in the Dark 4: The New Nightmare.
This I think was the best
on the PlayStation.
One.
And first of all, I didn't even know they made more than 2 Alone in the Darks.
Yeah. What's really cool though is
how could the 4th installment be any good?
You know how usually Gen Whiners are, but I found it was really cool. I found they used the main character Edward in all the stories, and the way they used him in number 4 was he's a being of light or something, and he was reborn to fight off the things of darkness or some shit like that. But they used the same main character a bunch of times, so when I was looking it up, everyone's like, there's really no spoilers since the character's Edward, because they're all different Edwards.
Oh, they're all different ones?
Yeah, in the first game, he was just an investigator, and then I think in the second or third one, he became a paranormal investigator, and now he's what he is in Alone in the Dark 4.
And sometimes, if you defeat Ganon, you go and play Wind Waker, but if you don't defeat him, we're talking about Alone in the Dark.
Yeah, so that was really cool.
So, this game was developed by Darkworks and published by Infogrames, which I've never heard of either.
No.
Honestly.
They did a lot of Game Boy and Game Boy Color games back in the day, but other than that...
Well, this game was also released on the Dreamcast and Game Boy Color as well.
Why did I not play the Game Boy Color version?
Well, I played the PlayStation version, and it's super cheap.
So did I.
But Holy crap, was this game good.
Yeah, man. Like I said, it is definitely my favorite one that we played.
I did not want to put this game down.
No, I'm actually going to go play it when I'm done this.
The 3 days that I've been home, I probably played this a day and a half worth.
Nice.
It was...
Jeez.
I was so invested. It's a 2-disc game.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big deal back then.
It's a big deal. It still kind of is. It's set in 2001. Like Josh said, it focuses on Edward Carnby, best friend and partner Charles Fisk has been found dead off the coast of Shadow Island,
Of course.
off the coast of Massachusetts. And Edward, investigation leads him to a guy named Frederick, who informs Fisk of 3 ancient tablets. So here's our kind of ancient darkness that he's got to fight. Stop this crazy power that people are after. And you basically just go through various spooky environments, solving puzzles. It's very Resident Evil like.
You guys smell that?
Smell
that? Smells like H.P. Lovecraft.
Did you say H.P. Lovecraft or Lovecraft? Craft. And you're just you're in a manor and you go about different areas. So I was like, wow, it's got the tank controls, much like Resident Evil. It really wanted to be it, and I think it actually did it better compared to even the first 2 Resident Evils. This game came out in 2001, so it's not an old game by any means, but sure, it felt like an old game. It felt like it came out in like the 96, 97 era, not 2001, but with better graphics and really utilizing the tank controls to kind of an advantage of making the environment more creepy, making the enemies seem faster than they actually are. Because in Resident Evil, the zombies are real slow and whatever, but in this one, you're fighting like wild reptiles and alligators in the water, and they're after you. It's the environment's there. I was really into the game, and I want to see where what happened to the third one.
What I thought was really interesting too was they didn't just make this a horror game; they made this like heavily story driven, which really helped set the tone for a lot of survival horror games like this. Like a lot of survival horror games you play now have really good stories, instead of just don't die to zombies, get to the end.
Yeah, I actually cared about it felt like it was well written, because Resident Evil games are generally pretty convoluted at times. It's really just about the controls and the zombies and blah blah blah. This game, I gave a shit about the plot.
Yeah, exactly. And
I wanted to know more. What's up with the mansion? Why? What happened to Edward? What's happening to his friend? I was really into it. I am really into it. I want to beat the game.
What I thought was really funny though was with Elaine, the girl who's trying to find her dad.
Right.
But after they jump off the plane, how she lands in the manor, there was I don't know if you got there, but there was one point she found, I think it was Edward, I can't remember. She found the guy in the mansion, and he goes, "Wow, you look a lot different." And she goes, "Yeah, I know."
Yeah, there's a lot of just one-liners in the entire game where they're kind of self-aware of what's happening.
Yeah, the cheesy dialogue made it good.
Yeah, it was good. Kevin, what do you got?
Look, this falls into my same problem I have with every other survival horror that we talked about, mostly. I don't want, I don't get why survival horror has to be puzzles. And I'm fine with puzzles. It's just like, I don't know, I just get lost when I have to have a guide next to me the whole game while I play.
The only thing I'm going to say against that is the way they fought it in this game was he was a paranormal investigator. So he's not just going around to solve puzzles; he's going around to investigate, right? Which is a good way of doing it. Instead of just saying, "Hey, go turn this crank,"
which is fine. I got no problem with that. It made sense in this context, and I will say the game is also ridiculous by having a triple barrel shotgun. I did like that.
You love it,
but and the credit I'll give it is that I didn't feel hopeless and useless like I did when I played something like Resident Evil or another game coming up. So it does the Resident Evil thing, like you said, better. it's just like I just get lost when I feel like I have to have a guide with me the whole game, or I have to like spend hours looking for like a subtle thing to progress. And this did it better, and I respect it as a game. It's just not my cup of tea. That's the best I could give it.
The negative that I had about it is basically the same thing I have with like every horror game I play. Is you kind of expect it after a while, so it doesn't get too creepy. One of the things I said about this game is it's based more on action than it was horror. So.
Yeah, it did feel a little bit more action-based, but generally that spooky environment stayed there the whole time.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I did become a lot less scared, but it didn't bother me none. I was still pretty pumped to learn each new plot development and learn more about Edward and all the other characters that he was involved with in the game.
I got a lot of a Resident Evil 4 vibe out of this too. I don't know if anyone else got this with the inventory
management.
The
gameplay was very Resident Evil-esque.
I haven't played 3, but like 4, like other than like the overview, like I don't know, something about it felt more like Resident Evil 4 than like the originals.
Maybe yeah, I could see that definitely.
I have to say though, this is the most atmospherically suspenseful game that was on the list, and this is the other one that I said at the beginning, because your two picks, JD, were great picks, but they were not crappy horror games. I'll give them that.
Well, again, I stand by the fact that I never even knew Alone in the Dark 3 or 4 or even 5 exists.
There's a 5?
There's a 5 on the Wii, and apparently that's really bad.
Great, never mind.
No, wait. Are the 360 and PS3 ones the same as the Wii one?
Maybe there's a 6 then as well.
Because I know the one on 360 is real good.
Oh, man.
I mean, this is one of those generational games, right?
We should have a modern day.
Like, it's like King Kong. They come out every 30 or so years to kind of refresh the story.
Yeah, they kind of do, but no, it's like one of those games where like every time Alone in the Dark like came out, everyone was like, "Oh, it did?"
Yeah.
Oh.
No, I'm really happy this game turned out so well, because I've always wanted to play an Alone in the Dark game, basically my entire life since I've had a PlayStation. But because they're horror and generally M-rated, parents just wouldn't let me have it. So on a whim, just in Edmonton, I was like, screw it, I'm gonna get this game. It's $10 in Canada.
Fuck you, Dad.
So that shows how cheap it is.
I'm an adult now.
Fuck you, Dad. There you go. Whoa. The Undertaker has arrived. And he was alone in the dark.
I'm an adult. I'm Alone in the Dark. I'm gonna be scared.
It turned out to not be terrible. I'm very happy. I'm definitely gonna be beating this game. I can't wait to play more.
Yeah.
I'm very happy.
Yeah, I'm gonna be playing this as soon as I'm done.
So our next game is another Josh pick. His second last one for him.
I think I picked the two worst ones, guys, and I'd like to apologize this time around.
I'm actually going to interrupt you here, because when we were picking the games for the theme, I really had to help you guys out.
Yeah.
Because you guys were like, there aren't any horror games before 2001. Oh my god.
Well, there was a few,
and I just started listing all of them off. I'm like, look, these. Pick some.
Not like super obvious ones.
Like the one I was gonna pick one that was like 8 discs long. I can't remember what the name was, but it was like all acted out.
What?
Oh, was that Kudelka?
I don't remember what it was, but it was a.
It might be Kudelka. I know that's.
It was like 8 discs long for PlayStation 1 or for the PC, and like. It was all acted out, and it was supposed to be a horror game, but it was supposed to be super dumb, and I was like, I don't think I want to invest 8 discs worth of time.
Well, I know you guys. I know there's some other. I know there's some other like FMV games. There's Night Trap from the Sega CD.
Okay.
No. That's
game.
And then there's Phantasmagoria.
I think that was the one I was gonna pick.
That's a pretty famous game.
Phantasmagoria.
You can get online for the PC, but kind of sticking with the consoles.
Yeah.
So I got the feeling that at least for you, Josh, you just like picked 2 randomly off the list that I I presented.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did.
And you ended up with this. You ended up with this game.
I ended up with two of the worst ones. So I picked Nightmare on Elm Street because I knew who Freddy Krueger was. And I picked Shadow Man because, like, it can't be that bad. It's for the N64.
I'm sorry. What was the
Shadow
title?
Man. For the N64.
And what is this game about?
Oh God. Okay. So
I didn't even know this was a horror game.
This game wasn't a horror game. It's a wet dream of historical fiction with serial killers.
That's a way to put it.
It's classified as an action-adventure horror game.
So dumb. The game wasn't...
They could be wrong.
This game wasn't so much scary as it was supposed to be dark and suspenseful, but like I said, it was a wet dream of a historical fiction with serial killers, man. It was just... I don't remember the guys' names, because I played this for like an hour, and I was like, okay, this is fucking stupid. I'm done playing this game. But,
It's Michel Leroy.
Yeah, so this guy is driving... He's driving a cab, and someone gets killed, and he takes a briefcase full of money, and now he's being chased by a mob, a gang, whatever, and then he gets killed, or no, he doesn't get killed, he meets this voodoo chick, and then she puts a mask on his chest, and then he can go back and forth between the dark world and the light, the alive, I don't know what the hell they called it. It was so stupid.
He goes back and forth between Louisiana and the dead world called Deadside.
Deadside or something like that, yeah. So something stupid like that. And now this game...
And Deadside was made by Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And and he makes an insane asylum for like-minded people in the Deadside.
Yeah. And your whole thing is you gotta try to save the world, and it's just... There wasn't much context behind the character. Did you know there was actually comics attached to this game?
That does not surprise me.
I didn't know that there was comics attached, so I couldn't really feel bad for what happened with the main character. I mean, the story was kind of interesting, but like, I didn't know who this guy was. He got chased by a mob, he stole some money, he got a shadow mask attached to his chest, now he's a Shadow Man, so... I don't know.
Now he's a Shadow Man, whatever.
Whatever.
I hate when that happens.
Typical Tuesday. So, like, I didn't get scared so much, but I'll have to say this game did an incredible job with lightning exploration, because this game was open-ended. That's the only thing.
It was very open world.
So the game was very open-ended, and it reminded me a lot of, like, old school Legend of Zelda, where you go to a zone, and you would get stopped, and you'd be like, well, I can't go up there, and then you would adventure more.
Do not compare this to Legend of Zelda.
So you would leave, and then you would come back, you would leave, you get, like, a power-up or an item, you go back and be like, oh, I could do this now, So yeah, it was just, but what?
Sounds pretty Zelda-esque to me.
Zelda-esque, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You could have. Listen,
Shadow Man. Don't question it. It was dark and
Don't
suspenseful.
question Shadow Man.
Cool, man.
It was dark.
He's a black dude from Louisiana. Come on.
Don't question the Shadow Man. Sounds like something parents told their kids before they went to bed. Do I have to go to bed now? Don't question the Shadow Man.
Don't question the Shadow Man. He'll put a stupid voodoo mask in your chest, and you'll have to go talk to
All right, Josh, continue.
What I found was a bit frustrating, and I don't know if you guys had experienced this, is every once in a while my Z targeting would fall off. So like I would all of a sudden I would be holding Z down, and that's right, Kevin, I said Z. I'd be holding the Z button down.
No, I knew where you were going.
I had the Z button down, and then next thing I know, it's like, where the hell are you going? How come I can't target you? And then I would die. So I'm not sure if it was me or the game, but you know what? Screw that. The game was dumb, the story was dumb, the comics were probably dumber. This game was dumb. I picked two stupid games, and I apologize this time around.
So I had a pretty big issue with the crazy amount of cutscenes to start off the game, because it's like 15 minutes before you start playing, and then it just puts you in this open world, and you're like, okay, what do I do?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm in the land of the dead, I guess, with Jack the Ripper for some reason. Okay, where do I go? What do I do? Why do I care again? I don't know. The cutscene was so long, I blanked out.
Where's the Yakuza?
My biggest issue was I got lost constantly. There was just no sense of direction.
Yeah.
That was my issue. The aiming I didn't really have too much trouble with. Yeah, I did find myself, if I turned too quickly or right after I killed a dude, the Z targeting would just disappear.
Yeah.
It wouldn't come back. You'd have to literally line up and then target with Z again. That got a little irritating, but that's a minor control issue, I feel. It was more or less the getting lost in no direction where to go. You're just constantly just running around, because there's not even really NPCs to talk to or direct you, no signs. It was just find the next area to go to, get the next item to go to the area, and then you move on. So it got pretty repetitive pretty quick for me.
Yeah. So I wasn't too scared about this game. So this was definitely not only a crappy game, but a crappy horror game. So
I mean, it had elements of horror.
No, JD,
I would definitely put it.
It didn't. The mask was scary. Okay, that's about it.
The mask was scary. You're in the land of the dead with Jack the Ripper.
Jack the Ripper was a bad guy.
You know what, that description sounds more like Splatterhouse. Scary mask, dead people. Ooh.
Yeah, scary mask. Get buff. Do you even lift, bro? Shadow Man.
Oh god. No, I definitely needed a walkthrough because I got pretty irritated just with where to go all the time, and that kind of hindered me enjoying the game.
Yeah.
What about you, Kevin?
So I don't have an N64 anymore, so I borrowed my buddy's N64 and a copy of this game for this podcast to show my dedication. And 10 minutes was enough.
Dude, it sucks.
10 minutes was enough. So you didn't even make it past like the initial cutscenes.
No, I'm talking about like 10 minutes of like gameplay.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. It just feels so empty and like nothing is going on. It literally became like an obstacle course of like, why am I doing any of this? Is there a point to this? I'm gonna go play Horizon now. Like, I really didn't feel like anything I was doing had a purpose or like why. It was just like we made a kind of horror thing. You like it? Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of voodoo stuff in there. I mean, I lived in Louisiana for a number of years, so I like kind of knew where they were going. It was like, okay, I guess it's creepy just because I've lived there.
No, like I got that, but it was just like I feel like nothing I was doing had any purpose or any sense other than like.
If you save Deadside, you get Louisiana jerk chicken. How's that sound?
Not great. They're building a Popeyes very close to me.
You get all the boudin and crawfish you want.
Yeah, you get all the crawfish.
This is not sounding any more appetizing.
Could you imagine that's the final scene in the game
at a table.
where it's him and Voodoo Chick. He's still got the mask on him, his glowy blue eyes. He's just like, give me the crawfish, bro.
Not those crawfish, the dead ones.
Sounds like the worst thing ever.
Sounds like an appropriate ending for a stupid game.
No,
I was surprised you even brought up Shadow Man because I remember like seeing this game a lot. I'm like, that's not a horror game. That just exists.
Yeah,
like,
this was a random pick. I had never heard of this game, and I was like, Shadow Man can't be that bad. Like I looked at the box art.
Don't worry, it got a sequel.
Yeah, that's
so
great. But like,
yeah, not interested in the sequel.
I looked at the box art and I was like,
I played this on the N64, and it just looked rough.
It was rough. I can't believe this game.
It's the N64.
I can't believe they make something like this, man.
Well, speaking of N64, even when I was in Houston on a business trip, I got a bunch of N64 games, and I was like, you know what? I gotta play Shadow Man for the podcast. Yeah, I'll pay $5 for it.
I wouldn't even pay that. They'd have to pay me to take it.
So now I have Shadow Man.
This game was worse than Jet Force Gemini. I'm gonna say it.
Oh no!
I'm gonna say it.
I will literally punch your dick right now.
So you're telling me, Josh, that Nightmare on Elm Street's better than Shadow Man?
I had more fun dying to things on the ground than I did in stupid Shadow Man.
I quit this podcast if you talk shit about Jet Force Gemini.
I'd rather play fucking Jet Force Gemini.
Well, before we lose a cast member, Kevin, what are your thoughts on Shadow Man?
Nah, though. Just no. It was boring. Like it was just boring.
This is boring. Okay.
It's not. It barely qualifies as a horror game. So if you're looking for something to really disappoint your sweetheart this Halloween,
hey, if you're one to be mildly disappointed, Shadow Man is your game.
Shadow Man and some of me tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, Kevin, you need more confidence in yourself.
I'm just being honest. You got to set the expectations low, so that way she's really surprised.
By how disappointing you really are.
All right.
Not only does the Red Leaf Retrocast cover games, love tips. You're welcome.
Love tip number 2. Punch me in the face. Bitches love it.
Oh, God.
Love tip number 3.
You're awful.
Don't call women bitches. The only B word you should call a woman is beautiful. Bitches love being called beautiful.
Yeah, like, hey, bitch, you beautiful.
I love you, bitch.
Oh Okay. Well, before we lose any female, no, that they're already gone.
Dude, they heard video.
We have our last game. We have our last game for the topic, and it's Kevin's last pick, his second one. And what do you got?
Dino Crisis, just like Dino City, but bad. So all right. So Dino Crisis is literally Resident Evil, but dinosaurs. And I say that with full confidence because Capcom.
It was actually the director was the guy who directed Resident Evil was actually the director of this game.
And it's very apparent. Like, this game is almost, I would say, a carbon copy because, like, other than, like, instead of mansion, you're in medical lab making dinosaurs for some reason. Like, it's almost like somebody took, like, Resident Evil and their job the next day was to go, like, review Jurassic Park. And then they're like, guys, I got to film. I got a game idea. They even make references to it. Like, when you see a giant T-Rex in this game, they go, whoa, it's just like that movie. I'm like, you're not even fucking trying, are you? The plot of the game is nonsensical. Just like every sci-fi movie or any horror movie, some scientist is being ignored, like, hey, don't do this, we're gonna make dinosaurs. And they're like, but dinosaurs are cool, so we're making dinosaurs. And then dinosaurs fucking kill everybody. So it's Jurassic Park, essentially. It's a fine game. It just has that complaint I have that I'm not going to repeat too much of puzzles everywhere. But the thing I hated most is that if I'm given a weapon in a game, I don't want it to be absolutely useless. Now, I know it's a survival horror game, so I understand that my pistol is going to suck. That is totally fine with me. I have no problem. But when I have a shotgun, it does nothing almost different than a pistol, I felt like. I don't know if anyone else had that.
My biggest thing in survival horror games, if you give me a weapon, the game loses a lot of horror value.
I'm on board with that, Josh, because you're very weak at first because the game sets up as you're these what are they? I get they're not stars.
They're stars. Just go ahead.
TRCP or some shit like that. I don't know.
They're SORT. That's what it was. The Secret Operation Raid Team. That's what it was. Yeah, SORT. They're part of SORT. So not stars, SORT. And they kind of set it up. They set it up early that they kind of don't know what they're getting into. And so they immediately make the player think that you're in trouble. Every dinosaur is going to kill you. Pistol's not enough, and you do eventually get stronger. So when I did play this game enough to get the shotgun and whatnot, and I was like, bam! Oh, these raptors can't handle this anymore.
What I was kind of disappointed with, and this is to bring the female audience back, was the main character. I can't remember her name. She was actually super cool. I was just really upset that they didn't.
Oh my god, Regina!
Regina was super cool. I was really upset that they didn't develop her. Like, they didn't really go to character development with them or with her.
Oh, they didn't have to. You gotta play the second one for that.
She was super cool. She blasts. I can't remember what she said, but it sounded like she blasted a raptor, and she's like, I think that took care of him. She'll say shit like that all the time.
Oh,
I think that did it. No, I didn't have enough time. I definitely want to, though.
This isn't ruin anything, but during the final boss fight, she shoots a missile at a T-Rex, and she goes, "You're extinct," and I was like,
yes. Yes.
The good old final cheesy punt, the cheesy line right at the end of the action movies.
If there wasn't a one-liner at the end of the movie, did you even watch it?
You're extinct. I love it. This is what we needed in my life.
That's definitely what we need. Yeah. So, developed, published Capcom. Naturally, it still had the pre-rendered backgrounds like a lot of PlayStation games at the time. It was also ported to the Dreamcast. I don't know if you guys knew that. Yeah.
I didn't actually. I don't think.
Yes, it did. Dino Crisis was ported to the Dreamcast.
No. I just said I don't think I did.
Okay.
I can't words today.
Yeah. So prior to this, I'd only played Dino Crisis 2, which I really enjoyed.
Brain dead version of this game.
So I wasn't sure how the first one was exactly, because I don't know a lot of people who even heard of Dino Crisis, let alone played it. So I was pretty pumped to play the game, and to have a strong female character. You're fighting dinosaurs. Jurassic Park's one of my favorite movies of all time, so I was like, horror and dinosaurs? Count me in, for sure. So what's... Yeah, I mean... I was reading some reviews like, oh, this is just Resident Evil with dinosaurs, like you said, Kevin. It's not, it's whatever. Don't, take it for what it's worth. And I go, I was playing this and I go, so what? It's made by the same guy and company. Who cares?
It's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing, but it's almost too similar to differentiate itself from Resident Evil. Like, to me, honestly, somebody could have just called this Resident Evil Dinosaur, and I would have been like, yeah, Resident that's Evil fine. Code. But like, it's almost not worth making a whole new series for. I think is my biggest issue. Like, it's almost like, why does this exist?
I thought it played really well. The tank controls were there in full force yet again.
Fuck tank controls.
But yeah, I mean, it didn't break any new grounds, but it was still fun to play. It was interesting. The story was very much kind of there and convoluted at times, but I wasn't picking at straws or anything. I was very happy. The environments were pretty creepy. The puzzles did get pretty tedious, but that's typical Resident Evil-esque, that's for sure.
Exactly.
It got too much though. It got to be way too much though after a while.
Well, when I found myself like, okay, I just want to kind of move along, I didn't really have a problem going to a walkthrough, because sometimes the puzzles just get so ridiculous I can't really remember anything. This is the kind of game that I would like to deem a note-taking game.
I don't have time for that. I'm an adult.
I'm an adult. I can play M-rated games now. I don't have time to write down notes for shit like this.
Exactly. Getting it.
I mean, taking notes during games does make it, it makes you feel more involved. It makes it seem like you're solving the puzzles better. You remember things. But even then, there were a couple puzzles in there that even while writing them down, I'm like, wait, what was I doing again?
Yeah.
I can't remember. What am I supposed to find?
The thing is with the puzzles in this game, and I did use a guide for the whole game because I wanted to get it done, is at least in this game more than Resident Evil, like the answer wasn't so obscure. Like there was a note close by, and like the game did tell you, write this down. You're going to need it. At least it was like very direct. I know it sounds like baby hand holding, but it was like, at least in Resident Evil, it was just like, oh, there's 0694 written in dust. Well, that seems important. It's like, why was it important? Like, it could be a lock. It could be someone's birthday. Like, it does. It was very obscure. Where this, like,
right.
I felt like everything I found actually had a purpose. Even those data sheets and even all the discs, they weren't super obscure. So I feel like Dino Crisis is almost a more casual Resident Evil, while at the same time still keeping those like obscure puzzles. It's almost like a good like middle ground.
I can get behind that opinion. I definitely liked the more casual feel it had than Resident Evil games, for sure. It was definitely a lot easier. I wish there was more dinosaurs. That's for sure. Like different kinds.
For a game called Dino Crisis, it was like very, very limited on the actual dinosaurs.
When the dinosaurs were there, it was really cool because they can repopulate vacant rooms and stuff.
Yeah, it was.
I thought one of the coolest things was like they can knock the weapons out of your hand with their tails, chase you through the door.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
Well, that happened only a few scripted times.
No, it can happen quite a few times.
Oh, I've only had it happen to where the guy told me like, you're gonna lose your gun, go pick it up.
No, yeah, they knock their weapons out of your hand. The raptors will knock your weapon out of your hand with their tail. What got me the most the first time though was when they can chase you through doors.
Yeah, that was shocking to me.
And
yeah, something right out of Jurassic Park.
And then even track you down if you were bleeding, which of course is pretty interesting.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool
mechanic. I didn't realize what was going on. I thought the bleeding was like, oh, I'm losing health over time, but like I didn't realize like, oh, a dinosaur knows where I am. Like, so that was something I wish Resident Evil actually implemented, because it makes sense with zombies because like they're known to like, I mean they're known like they're real creatures, but like a common thing of zombies like blood,
guts, gore, yeah.
Well, one last cool thing I want to point out at least was the use of the camera in the game. Because I don't know if you guys played a Resident Evil game, the camera just keeps messing up. Like you go in a room and the camera's awkwardly placed, and you're pressing up on the D-pad or analog stick, and you immediately go back to the room you're in, or it puts you in a perspective on a pre-rendered background, you're just constantly going up or to the side of the screen and your character's just getting smaller. This one would actually have the camera panning.
Yeah, no,
quite a bit, like down hallways. It would move with you. The camera was never. I never found the camera awkwardly placed when entering a new area. And that little, it may seem like such a little thing, especially compared to modern gaming, but back then, like, this is a big deal. Like, just something as simple as a camera just made the game more enjoyable. Maybe that's why that casual feel was there.
Well, there's a lot of little things that made this just a little better than Resident Evil. Like, going through a door, it would have that loading screen of the door opening, but not only that, you'd have a name of a room. So at least you could be like, okay, I need to go back to the office or whatever, right? So like I could remember, like, this is the office, I need to be here.
Yeah, the office. Yeah, this is the office. This is what's in it. This is maybe a clue inside. Leave that for later. Yeah, I was actually taking notes of like what was in each room, and then could remember going back.
To pick up, like, it didn't blend in with the background so much like Resident Evil did. Where like sometimes in Resident Evil, I remember things being part of the pre-rendered background. And so, like, I didn't know if I could pick anything up, but this always had, like, there's a thing here, I need this. Other than, like, dead bodies, but...
Yeah.
So I thought that was helpful.
So, what would you guys... What are your final thoughts on it, then? Is it terrible, or was it actually kind of good?
This comes down to... I respect it, again. I just feel like the puzzles were a little confusing. I don't know how Dino Crisis 2 is. I still think it's a good game. I'm not going to take that away from it. I'll probably actually end up playing Dino Crisis 2, even with all the things I don't like about these kind of games. But there was just something about it that had more charm than the original Resident Evil did for me.
Josh?
Why are they remaking this 40 times?
Yeah, it did sell really well, apparently. It was like 2 million copies.
Greatest hits, bro!
So, Dino Crisis, I mean, the dinosaurs was a cool idea. It got nerve-wracking, but after a while, it just got kind of annoying. Like, they would just pop out of nowhere. Because after a while, I found myself more avoiding the dinosaurs instead of going after them to kill them so I can do the puzzles. I don't know. I thought it was, like, there was the cool little quirks, but...
I stopped killing them.
I just found it more annoying than it was. I'd have to say this, it's not a crappy game, but it's definitely not a horror game, in my opinion.
So, middle thumb.
I'll give it a...
It was a possibly bad game.
It was a possibly...
Yeah, so it kind of rounds out the theme there. It was possibly good, possibly bad. It's more... Yeah.
Really depends on your perspective.
Yeah, so those were our 6 games already.
Woo.
Pretty awesome. So, going through it one more time, we played D, which came out on the Saturn and PlayStation, Nightmare on Elm Street on the NES, Alien Resurrection from the PlayStation, Alone in the Dark 4, The New Nightmare, also the PlayStation and Dreamcast later, Shadow Man on the 64 and PlayStation, and Dino Crisis on the PlayStation. So, a lot of PlayStation games, actually.
PlayStation was really good. The other common thing we also had was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them were action-adventure horror games.
Shadow Man was not a horror game.
We gotta go with its actual title, okay? Just because Shadow Man was stupid doesn't mean it wasn't supposed to be a crappy horror game.
Hashtag not my horror game.
Oh, man.
Hashtag impeach Shadow Man.
Alright, so what was your favorite and least favorite, Kevin?
Alien Resurrection, fuck you. But my favorite, I'm really picking.
Well, you picked Alien Resurrection, man.
I know. It doesn't mean it can't go fuck itself. I want to, I don't want to just pick my games because they're my games, but I really do like Nightmare on Elm Street, and I know it's not a horror game either. I don't know. I had fun with it, even though it didn't meet any qualifications of a horror game.
Yes, it did. It's Freddy Krueger, man.
Okay, they put his face on it. I could put your face on. They would be like, "This is JD of Muschenspiel.
This is horror.
That is an empty Budweiser bottle. This is JD of Muschenspiel.
This is JD. This is JD on a sign from David's Tea. Now you do your thing. It's horror."
This is.
Oh,
this
man.
Is JD. This is JD on drugs. Any questions?
Oh, God. You guys are terrible. All right, Josh, what do you got?
Okay, so I actually have a ranking down already now.
Oh, cool.
The worst one, Shadow Man. Worst one, Shadow Man. Then number 5 goes to Nightmare on Elm Street. Number 4 goes to Dino Crisis. Number 3 goes to Alien Resurrection. Number 2 goes to...
Why did Alien Resurrection break top 3?
Why is it in top 50%?
Between one of those two, okay? Number 2 goes to D, and number 1 goes to Alone in the Dark. I couldn't get enough of it. Like, I'm trying to let's hurry this up. I want to play the game.
So don't push us out the door, jeez.
Don't let the
my
door
ranking.
hit you on the way out.
My ranking from the bottom up is Nightmare on Elm Street, the bottom.
Yep.
Alien Resurrection, number 5. Shadow Man, number 4. D at number 3. Dino Crisis 2, Alone in the Dark. New Nightmare, number 1.
Nice. That's my description for Nightmare on Elm Street, by the way. Could have saved 20 minutes just...
What'd you think of Nightmare on Elm?
Can we have that rating in like EGM? Just like Nightmare on Elm Street.
Power chord. Yeah.
Oh man.
That's
Well, we're still rolling here. You know what, guys? I don't even need a break. You want to just go right into the general topic?
I guess we should do that. Yeah.
Just go full force.
The only issue is we'll Audacity crap out with being over an hour and a half.
Oh, it just might. But we'll keep an eye on it. How about that?
Okay.
All right.
No audition's good to go.
Oh. Okay, so this is the general topic where we're gonna kind of just shoot the shit and talk about horror games from the past, maybe some honorable mentions, and how different horror games are today, and just kind of throw some titles out there. We're kind of improvising this one.
We're improvising. We don't improvise the rest.
Oh well. This is brought. I do have to mention the sponsors though. New Amsterdam Gin. If you like gin, this is probably your best bet. It's good stuff.
What a sponsorship.
What a sponsorship. I do love our main sponsor, David's Tea, located here in Toronto on Queen Street West. They're really good, fair prices, an assortment of different flavors. Right now, they have a special going on where you get a free tea with the purchase of a summer iced tea glass bottle, where it actually infuses the tea at the bottom of the glass. It's really cool. I'm actually going to go get one this coming weekend because summer's right around the corner, and iced tea would definitely quench the thirst.
Yeah. Actually, I might be going to
David's
Toronto sometime soon.
Located here in Toronto. You can also get it in various places in the United States. Join the Frequent Steeper Club, rack up those points, and get some good deals.
I don't think I'm going to come to Toronto soon to try that out.
Oh yeah. If you're located in Boston, you're not taxed on your tea because of some party that went on there.
It's a tea party.
I feel as though you're making an American joke at me, and my dog is barking.
Even your dog's not impressed at that joke. Look, you've offended an American dog. Even he was like, "Fuck your tea party."
I'm okay with that. So I want to throw out some honorable mentions there of some old games that weren't really brought up, and that would be the first Clock Tower game on the Super Nintendo. Now, it never had a Western release, but it definitely broke new grounds into how survival horror is played, since you're a weak character. And I got that feeling in D, how D took a lot from that franchise.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice. Like I said before, and you kind of backed me up on it, when you get a weapon in a survival horror game, it turned into more of a run and gun kind of shooter type deal with some monsters and zombies and stuff. So the moment I get like a weapon in a game is when when the game's horror factor kind of really drops.
Yeah, there does come a point in horror games in general where being so weak all the time at the beginning of the game is a good thing. And then when you get to a point, like one of my favorite horror games to this day is Clock Tower 3. I know it's not rated the best. I know it's not everyone's favorite. Most people just haven't even played it. It's on the PS2. Okay. At first, you're this little British girl, Alyssa, and she can't do anything. Her only weapon is holy water. And all she can do is run away. But as you play the game and you get a handle on how everything works, you feel like that holy water, is your main weapon. You use it right, and you're less scared. And that's how I feel what Dino Crisis was going for.
Well, I mean,
you have a pistol fighting these crazy big dinosaurs, and eventually you do get the dinosaurs wreck your house.
Oh yeah,
there's no doubt about it.
But the thing is that which is fine, and I have no problem with that pistol being weak. But I felt like even when I got the grenade launcher towards the end of the game, I felt like a fucking grenade launcher should like kill this dinosaur at least in one hit, even if you're not gonna make it explode. But like everything I did was like a water gun. Like I felt like
genetic engineering's a bitch, man.
Which is okay, fine, we can think, but it's also an explosion, so there's that. I feel like if you're gonna give me a weapon in a horror game, be selective. Like, okay, here's a pistol, here's like a TMP. Maybe it sucks, but it fires a lot of bullets.
Okay, so
I just don't want to be. I don't want to have the illusion of you've given me a weapon, but it doesn't do anything.
In that sense, then, Kevin, yes. What makes a horror game for you? Is it the sense of being scared, or just being in suspense, or the fact that you're just in a creepy environment and now you need to blow things away?
It depends game by game. And I've said it, I don't want to keep saying it, but like puzzles don't make things scary, and I never got why every like Silent Hill, Resident Evil, why do I have to find these puzzles? Like that doesn't have to be scary. There's things like, I think Alien Isolation is a great example, which is a modern day example. Like you can't kill that xenomorph, but you can make it run away. It's always chasing you. There's an atmosphere. There's always a feeling of dread.
Sense of helplessness.
I felt zero dread while playing Dino Crisis, other than like, oh, I have a weapon that doesn't do shit. Like it wasn't scary. It was just frustrating to me, So,
what's a horror game to you, Josh?
Well, I mean, I freaking love horror games. Like, if anybody knows my channel, they know I love horror games. But it's like, I've said it before, and I'll keep saying it. I don't like having a weapon in a horror game. I like to have that sense of helplessness to avoid the monster, run away from the monster. I like to have creative ways of getting away from the monster, and I don't mind certain puzzles as long as like the puzzle makes sense to the story. Like, I'm going to use Layers of Fear, for example. You wake up, your guy or some narrator is talking about some painting and some artwork, and when you're going through the game, you're so gripped by what's going on in the story that you want to explore everything, and all you know is that there's something watching you. There's something going on in the house, and you're not quite sure what it is. And I just having that sense of helplessness, and like Kevin said, that sense of dread really makes a horror game for me. And just knowing that something can chase you or like can pop up at any time. Like, jump scares are jump scares, they get everybody, but that sense of helplessness and knowing that you're being watched and that anything could happen. Like in I can't remember the game. In Amnesia, that's it. You can't be in the dark too long. You can't be in the dark for too long. You can't touch water because your guy starts tripping out. Like,
it's kind of like using the flashlight in Alone in the Dark that we played.
Or even in oh my god, Eternal Darkness. Eternal Darkness was a game I actually wanted to put on here. It was made in 2002, so I could have done it. And that game is, again, H.P. Lovecraftian, very scary. But that has like a whole sanity meter, monsters everywhere.
Oh yeah, and that's a fourth wall breaking game.
No, exactly.
Really brings the player into the game.
There was actually one scenario. I was playing it because I lived with my cousin at one point. My cousin Dirtbag Gaming. He had this game, and he's like, hey, you know what, Josh? I know you really like the horror games. You should try this one out. So I'm trying and playing and going through, and I'm really creeped out because I don't remember if you get a weapon. I think you do, but I can't quite remember. But I'm creeped out at this game because there's noises and there's wind blowing through the house, and you have to go find these things to try to advance through the game. The one thing that Kevin hates. And I'm playing, and all of a sudden the game goes blue screen. Puzzles. The game goes blue screen and says, your game has crashed. I looked at Jordan, I said, did I just break the game? And he's laughing his ass off. I was like, dude, if I just broke something, like, I am so sorry. And this game, it'll stay on the blue screen for like 10 minutes. I actually had to reset it, and then it started up again. It loaded up. It didn't even like the GameCube thing where like it will spin up. It didn't even do that. It just went right back into the game after I hit the reset button.
Yeah, I played a bit of Eternal Darkness, and things like that are so cool. And if you have a CRT TV and you have that game, that is the true way to play it, and it really messes with your mind. Kevin, you were going to say something?
I never played Eternal Darkness, but the thing that always boggled my mind about that is like, why would your GameCube do a blue screen?
See, nobody really knows,
because that was the thing of the 90s and early 2000s of a computer. I
understood that, but that was a computer. I'm playing a GameCube. I was like, I'm not running Windows.
Well, I wouldn't say Windows. It'd be like your console has encountered a fatal error and can no longer process the information on the disk or some stuff like that, right?
Oh, see, I thought it was just like a Windows blue screen because, like I said, I've never played it. So every time I saw a video, this is like, are people just dumb? That's not Windows.
Yeah, it's not a Windows thing. Like, your PC has encountered an error and we need to restart your system. It said your console.
Man, would that be hilarious? Though.
Windows has encountered a problem. This is a Nintendo Switch. What the hell?
Well. What I've noticed after researching and playing some of the games on the list is a lot of these games from the early 90s, mid 90s, it was pre-rendered backgrounds. Nothing really truly became creepy or scary until 3D came along.
That's when things can move at you.
Yeah,
like your PlayStation, your Saturn, even your N64.
Well, you can make the argument for the first Clock Tower. They did with what they could, but like a lot of people recommend that that is a scary game.
Well, that was the one that started off, and I did mention that earlier. But then when the PS2, GameCube, that era rolled around, that's when horror games really started becoming big, like bigger than just. It kind of saw the same evolution that first-person shooters had, in my opinion, where the new technology with new controls, better hardware, it was able to do more. So that's when we saw our games like Siren, the Fatal Frame series. The Fatal Frame series I still play to this day, and even when it's stupid and schoolgirly, it's still really creepy. I'm a person that when I play a horror game, I have to have a friend over because something just as simple as the environment and these creepy images coming up, they scare me half to death. I could not even my brother and I couldn't even play Fatal Frame 2 together.
I don't,
because that's one of the scariest games I've ever played in my life.
I don't mind playing a horror game with another person, but to be fair, the last time I played a horror game with someone was when I played Soma with Alec, and that kind of playing with someone else kind of takes away from the atmosphere because you can like chat with someone, but it also kind of adds to it because like if you can also be like have that sense of urgency with your friend at the same time. And if you're a dick like I was when I was playing Soma, you kind of like, you look at your friend and go, boo, and scare the shit out of them.
See, that's just
But it's funny. You would do the same shit. Only because the same shit's happened to you.
It is funny. One of my favorite, I'm going to go on and look at a little story here, but one of my favorite experiences with a horror game was actually Clock Tower 3. And I keep going back to this game. Is friend and I it was middle of the night, we're playing the game. I'd just gotten it. This is that time when I was finally allowed to play M-rated games, and the little girl Alyssa gets warped into the little world, and the first corner she walks around, this dude with a sledgehammer just says her name really loud, Alyssa, and throws the sledgehammer down in front of her, just missing her. And in that moment, both of us jumped out of my bed. He hits the wall. And I just the controller flies out of my hand and it's ripped out of the console. We were just that jump scared, and from that moment on, we're just freaking out. Anytime this character came, we're like, we gotta run away because we have no weapon.
Like Pyramid Head.
So it was ridiculous, and it's those experiences in horror games that just make them so enticing and fun.
Oh, I love horror games.
It wasn't until Resident Evil 7 rolled around that. Kind of that middle between the PS2 and now, horror games all tried to be like Resident Evil 4, where they just wanted to be first-person shooters or third-person shooters, just guns and shoot shit.
No, I'm really liking I like the direction a lot of independent game makers are going now. A lot of independent
indies have been killing
it. But when it comes down to the horror games, I like how they're kind of starting to come with more survival horror instead of just run and go shoot zombies. My favorite, though, personally, are survival psycho thriller games.
What are some examples?
Amnesia was one. Layers of Fear.
Right.
The scariest experience I ever had was actually a question I was going to bring up to you guys. What is the scariest experience you've ever had with a horror game? And the most scariest experience I've ever had with a horror game was the first, 3 jump scares in Outlast.
Outlast gets a lot of people.
Like the first one.
And Outlast 2 is coming out as well.
Oh, man, it's terrifying. The first, oh my God, dude, the first 10 minutes I had to take a break because it was you go into this old mental asylum and then you're walking around, jump scare. Oh, okay, that got me. Jump scare. Oh, okay, that got me too. And the third one, jump scare. It's like, okay, well, you know what? I can only take so many jump scares in a 2-minute span.
I'm sick of you guys making fun of me.
But man, I don't want to. Have you watched gameplay of Outlast, Kevin?
I have it downloaded on my PS4. I've been meaning to play it. It just hasn't happened yet. I plan on doing videos on that because I'll cry like a little baby because if there's anything I hate, it's jump scares.
As soon as that goes up, I'm watching it because I love watching people play Outlast. I make people play PT when they come over all the time.
I'll never touch PT.
PT is awesome. No. PT is super scary.
I hate.
So yeah,
it's a real shame that was never made. It's a real shame.
We got to see what Death Stranding becomes because. You never know.
That could be a creepy psychological game. It could probably the way it's looking, it looks like it could be horror. So just for fun, I have a top horror game list from Games Radar. It's very basic.
Okay.
But I thought we could go. It's 20 games, just real quick. I'll run through them, and then we can just be like, okay, sure, yeah. Maybe a little thought over them.
If the one I'm thinking of comes up on there, I want to go into depth.
So number 20, Silent Hill Shattered Memories. It's okay. It's scary at first, and then you become numb to it.
Okay.
Is that the Wii one?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Number 19, Layers of Fear.
So good. Story driven.
Never played that.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Josh played it on Power Chord. It's a good game.
My favorite game I've played for Powers Out so far.
Lone Survivor.
Never heard of it.
I'm not familiar with this one at all, so
no, I thought that was an action game.
Number 17, Alan Wake, which
that was good. Scary. The whole flashlight thing was terrifying.
I mean, 16, Fear, which I'm not sure about that. I mean, it's a first.
It's lit.
I mean, it's a good game, but right after you see Fire Girl, after the first couple of times,
Oma?
Yeah.
That game's awesome. She's the scariest thing in that game.
Yeah, she's the only thing scary in the game.
Because it's creepy. That's what I'm talking about with Alien. There's one enemy, and it will haunt you and scare you, and you can't escape it.
That's fine, but the first-person shooter part of it just, I think, kind of ruins it.
Oh, absolutely. The game's a terrible shooter, but it's hilarious.
Okay.
Hey,
all right,
don't forget the whole point where she gets ghost preggers with you, okay?
Oh, God.
Don't try to put logic into that. That was that was also a scary part.
15, Dead Space, which I'm kind of shocked this isn't higher.
Dead Space wasn't scary.
Wow.
Dead Space was not scary, and I'll stand by that. Keith thinks it's horrifying, but I will stand by that Dead Space is not scary.
Well, maybe because you don't think it's scary because you know you're armed to the teeth with weapons.
I just even when I wasn't armed, it just wasn't scary. I'm going to turn around this corner. I wonder what fucking alien is going to jump out at me. Bang! Wow, that was horrifying. I'm going down an elevator. This elevator seems to have stopped.
Yeah.
So it's just predictable.
It's predictable. Okay. It's not scary.
That's fair. 14, Eternal Darkness. I think
Eternal
it should be higher.
Is good. It should definitely be higher.
13, Until Dawn. No,
I think that should be lower.
That's the one I want to talk about when we're done. I want to talk about
Until
that.
Dawn, yeah.
Okay, we'll go more into Until Dawn because I really enjoyed that game.
That's lower.
12, Condemned Criminal Origins.
No, it's good.
Absolutely,
it's good. It's great, but I don't think it's a horror game. I think it's a great suspense mystery game.
It's more like Shadow Man.
Wait, is it? Don't spoil the number, but can you tell me if the second one's on this list?
I don't know. I can't see ahead. I can't see that far ahead, man.
All right, never. Oh, it's one of those clickbaity sites where you gotta hit next every time.
Yeah. 11 Bloodborne.
That's a horror game?
I mean, it qualifies as horror standard for sure.
Just because they put scary things in it, like vampires or whatever. No, that's not a horror game.
Beat
Stop
Bloodborne.
that. Shadow Man is more of a horror game.
I was more scared at Nightmare on Elm Street. The only thing that'll get you is like in every fucking Dark Souls game is that things pop out at you like, oh shit, I wasn't expecting that.
There's creepy environments and creepy scary enemies in Bloodborne, but yeah, it's too actiony to
the
be.
Game is based off of like a gothic Victorian style. That's not very scary. It's just creepy.
Are you kidding me? There's like vampires and shit in those eras all the time. We all know this.
Yeah.
10 Soma, sure.
Was good.
9 Fatal Frame 2. I've already spoken about that. That game's creepy as shit. I can't play it.
I took that one picture and never play it again.
Yeah. 8 Outlast, which you spoke about. 7 Resident Evil 4. No, it's an action game.
Yeah, no.
6 Resident Evil 2.
It's gonna be like Resident Evil 4, 2, 7, 8.
5 Resident Evil 7.
God damn it.
4 Alien Isolation.
I haven't played it, but I have it on my Steam library. I want to play that soon.
3 Amnesia. Good job, Josh.
So good.
2 PT.
That's so good too.
But
it's not a full game. It's a demo.
That's really unfair.
Kick that off the list. And number 1, Silent Hill 2. So
that's good.
They definitely left a lot of actual horror titles on there.
They didn't even put Devilry in there.
Yeah, they didn't. They missed the boat.
I hate to plug again, but Devilry was a game I played on Powers Out for my channel, and that game scared me so bad that people have asked me to like, hey, why don't you finish the game? You know, this is not like, or like re-record it because the fucking footage was all jumpy and laggy and shit. It's like, oh, you know what? How about no? Because that game scared me so bad that I refused to play the game again. Yeah.
Wow. I'm here for you, Josh.
And so was apparently Alec.
With technology going up, because we saw 2 games on the list that definitely warrant a mention, and that was Resident Evil 7 and Until Dawn. And what Resident Evil 7 did was the whole VR first-person, you are the person, which is kind of what led to the first-person shooter genre getting as big, because you feel like you're the guy killing everybody. So VR is definitely gonna, and we already see this with a lot of games, like with the Oculus and even on the PS4 VR, where horror games are definitely gonna get kicked off hard, and the indie titles are probably gonna be the one that's gonna keep it going. VR Until Dawn
should not not have been on that list.
Until Dawn is that.
Josh, don't you speak in
it's
words
a
again.
Great game.
Yeah, Josh, you're in that game.
That game is awesome.
Just because you're crazy doesn't. The game's a lot of fun, and it's a callback to those 80s.
It plays like a movie.
Slasher films.
Yeah, it's everything Night Trap should have been.
Yeah, kinda. It had everything Night Trap wanted to be at the time.
It's D with more cutscenes.
Man, could you imagine? Yes, it's also D. So you definitely see those two games in Until Dawn and what they could have been. Did Until Dawn really hit the mark for making you truly scared? No, but you felt like the characters were scared.
Wrong.
So
there was a few parts where I did get scared. The biggest one was when the birds flew out of the trees when you were with Mike and the really loose girl, whatever, Jessica, whatever her name was. And they were walking to the cabin, and then like you go to
Mike and Jessica.
Like you guys are walking to the cabin, you turn around, next thing you know, it zooms down these birds flying out the thing. That's the one that scared me the most.
Yeah, there were definitely some creepy moments, but yeah, horror games are definitely coming along. Like you guys mentioned, the indie titles are I'd say they revamped the genre for sure.
Well, they're doing more with less, which is a lot. I've had a lot of friends say like the scariest horror games were on PS1 because the graphics they gave you a vague idea of what was chasing you. Like obviously it's a zombie in Resident Evil, but like because you almost can't make it out, your mind like hallucinates and makes it worse in your mind. Like the controls were like bad, so like you had to run away and it made it more tense. But when you bring it back down to indie studios who have less to work with, the creativity just gets there more. I feel like so.
Yeah, it's almost like because the games I'm most scared of or playing are the PS2 horror games. that I have. The Siren, the Fatal Frame 2, Silent Hill 2. Kevin, you're right. I can absolutely agree with you on that. Where your mind is filling in gaps. It's letting your imagination run wild, and that's what drives me crazy. Like, what's around this corner? Is that really a spoopy ghost or or was it all in my head? Did I hear something around the corner? I swear I heard something. But when the graphics get too good, like in Dead Space, I'm with Josh, and just, yeah, everything becomes predictable. You know what's there. Oh, it's a tentacle thing. Oh, I'm so shocked.
Yeah.
Oh, tentacle porn. I've seen where this goes.
Just give me some tentacle grape from Japan. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
No? You like that joke?
I see where I enjoyed it. I was like, ooh.
The one thing though that's starting to annoy me though with a lot of the that's really starting to become a huge thing is because the popularity of Five Nights at Freddy's, everyone's starting to do the survive for 6 hours, kind of thing.
I thought that died off.
It's still going strong.
It's still going. There's a lot of side games, knockoffs.
Well, not even just Five Nights at Freddy's. Like, I'm talking, like, even Emily wants to play Survive 12 to 6. Survive, like, in other games, just Survive from 12 to 6.
Yeah, the Boogeyman's another game like that.
Right, so it's
not really... They're just carbon copies with a different character,
and it's
essentially.
It's starting to get a little annoying because, like, once you played one, you played them all.
Well, see, the thing is that not only are those bad horror games to me, those are bad games because if I can get the full experience by watching a Let's Play online, I feel like you haven't made a good game. Like, I know a lot of people say, like, Let's Play.
I don't know, those developers would beg to differ with all the money they're making.
Well,
it's easy to make money when you send a horror game to Markiplier. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, anything PewDiePie and Markiplier plays is gonna print money. But I don't feel like if I got my own copy of Five Nights at Freddy's, I'd have any more of an experience than a guy who played it. Like when I watch your guys' videos, like, if you play God of War, like JD's doing now, like, you're not gonna have the same experience I will playing God of War.
Well, technically, I played that like a year ago, and it's finally up online.
Yeah, examples. I'm still putting up Tales of Symphonia as I finish in January.
The life of working full time and just having pre-recorded shit.
Yeah, I remember you made like a Christmas remark, and I was like, "What the hell's going on in Canada?"
We have Christmas in July.
To be fair, come on, man. I made this clear when the channel was first made, and I mentioned it all the time. It's like, hey, I'm going away for a month, or it's like in between episodes. Hey, I've been away for like 6 weeks. What's up?
No. I got that, but it was like. But the thing was, like, a game like God of War or any.
So we're approaching the time crunch here at the end of the podcast. I want to know what each of your top of your head. Your top 3 horror games you've ever played.
I'll let Kevin go first this time. Kevin, you've been summoned.
And I'm letting you guys know you might be surprised with my picks.
Number 3, Until Dawn.
Really?
Suck
Come
it, Josh.
on, man.
Shut your mouth, I'm speaking. Number 2 is going to be Condemned 2, Bloodshot. And
interesting.
Number 1...
The Suffering.
No, I haven't played The Suffering, believe it or not. Man, I'm gonna be real.
Splinter Cell.
No.
Dino Crisis.
Mass Effect 2. No, I'm gonna say Fear, but I have a reason for it that we don't have time to explain. So
okay,
just trust me, it's Fear.
Okay. Josh?
So I'm going to go Outlast as number 3. I'm going to go PT as number 2. And I'm going...
I veto that number 2.
You can't.
I so do.
Shut your mouth,
it's
I'm
like
talking.
a 10-minute game.
Okay.
Real diplomatic here.
Veto number that one then. Okay, so then I guess I'll go Amnesia as number 2 then. And then my scariest one I've ever played would be Devilry, because that's the game that I've absolutely just been scared so bad that I refuse to play again. It was either that or Fatal Frame.
Okay.
JD, your turn.
Devilry. I'll have to watch that video again to
let's
see.
Let you know, it was recorded when we first started doing it, and it's really laggy, and it's not that great. But yeah.
I will use that as a litmus test for your whole channel. Then.
Okay.
Everyone should.
That's fair, dude. That's fair.
So I can't say favorite, So I have to go by scariest because that's what I'm basing this off of. 3 would be Silent Hill 2. 2 would be Siren. And 1 is Fatal Frame 2.
Are you sure one's not Shadow Man?
So they just happen to all be PS2. So I wonder if that surprised anyone.
I mean, there's not a Sega title on there, so...
Yeah, they're all PS2 titles, yeah.
That's a good point. You could have even said Resident Evil 3 Nemesis on Dreamcast.
Oh, that is on the Dreamcast.
Specifically on Dreamcast for you, though.
But I went specific, like, these scared me the most.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, all right, well, that was episode 6 of the Red Leaf Retrocast with the theme Possibly Terrible Horror Games. Josh has our next theme already picked out. Would you like to tell everyone all about it?
Our next topic that we're going to talk about is games that have been adapted from movies.
Alien Resurrection.
Nice. That would be one of them.
Nice, man. I already got this done.
I've already got my 2. JD's got his 2. I think Kevin's got his 2. So you guys are going to have a...
Yeah, we already got our list picked out. Hopefully we can actually turn around the next podcast in a couple weeks, 3 max. So we'll be on our bi-monthly.
I thought you were going to say we'll be on our bike ride. I was like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, we'll be on a solid bike ride, looking at great movies to be turned into video games.
Look at all the photosynthesis going on, guys.
Oh, so good. Kevin, where can we find all of us, and how can they get in contact to ask us questions, suggest themes, suggest games to play?
If you want to annoy me on Twitter, it's twitter.com/consolekev, and then I will block you. You can find me at VidMe and YouTube. I don't have a custom YouTube URL. It won't go through, but just look up Console Kev. I'll be the guy with the little pixelated face. And if you want to annoy me on Facebook, don't do that. It's creepy.
Yeah, Facebook's a little too much. Sometimes.
And Josh, where can we find you?
Well, we have a Facebook page. I mean, you can look us up. Our Facebook page,
Hypocrite.
No, you don't have my personal Facebook. That's different. You go ahead. You can you're more than welcome to like the page and share everything that's on there. Nerd showing me what's up. Yeah, you find us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. We actually have our custom URL working. It's powerchord.c/powerchord show. On Twitter, we are at Powerchord Gaming, which I'm kind of annoyed with because I hate when things do, yada yada gaming or stuff like that. It's like, we get it. You have a YouTube channel. So I'm kind of hypocritical again in that sense. But otherwise, everything is Powerchord Show. Look us up on Powerchord, where you have lightning bolts and wires and...
Hey, you're doing Tales of Symphonia too.
Hey, we've had that going for this. It's like a work in progress. We play like...
Why are you not showing up in my sub box?
I don't know. Are you actually subscribed?
Oh. Yeah, but I'm looking at... I didn't know you had a Facebook page, so I'm looking down at it, and I'm like, wait a minute, I don't see any of this in my thing.
So. How about you, JD? Where can we find you at?
Well, I am not a cheater chat copycat like Powerchord with Dark Souls and Tales and Symphonia.
Oh, snap.
Shots fired. You can find me at Moosenspiel from YouTube and VidMe. This is also where you can find the Red Leaf Retrocast in full episodes at VidMe, so you can stream the podcast and past ones. It's in an album. You can also find the podcast in the last 2 episodes on iTunes and Google Play Music, because our sponsor doesn't pay us enough money.
We need to get more sponsors
to do more than 2 episodes, and I don't feel like pumping out the extra like $10 or whatever it is for other sites. But you can find all the episodes at VidMe, maybe eventually on all our YouTube channels. But you can also find me on Twitter at BowlingJD under Moosenspiel. It's the moose with the Canadian flag in the back. Really getting the country I work in.
Yeah, if you want to look for Powerchord, just look up the electricity in the background. That's us.
Go to Home Depot.
It's CORD, by the way, not CHORD, all one word. Just saying.
Yeah, so that was episode 6. Hope you look forward to the next episode in a couple weeks. And
I was gonna say that for when you were saying he wasn't a copycat, but then you started talking again. I want to be a jerk.
Fantastic. Oh god.